Well, hey everyone, welcome to Cooking with Bob and Allison. You are in our kitchen, in our home, and we are so glad you're here. Whether you're cooking with your loved one or you're cooking by yourself or with someone else, it don't matter. All that matters is that you are here with me and my wife Allison, and I'm gonna take good care of you. We're gonna cook up some good food tonight.
Maybe you've been staying home a little bit more this year and cooking more at home. I know we have. Usually our dinners are pretty kid-friendly and simple, but sometimes we want to cook something that we might get at a fancier restaurant. So tonight, our menu's a little bit more fancy.
Yeah, now don't get anxious, right? It is a little bit fancy, but we're gonna make it simple for you. You are gonna be able to cook this meal. It's gonna be awesome. We're doing some surf and turf. That's right, surf and turf. We got a really nice ribeye steak. We've got some great scallops, some potatoes au gratin. You're gonna cook up your asparagus.
Mushrooms.
I love mushrooms with a good steak, so we've got mushrooms tonight, and we're gonna top it all off with some creme brulee. That's right, you are gonna make creme brulee tonight.
You can do it.
You can do it. It's gonna be awesome. We're so excited that you are here with us. All right, so first up, we're gonna make creme brulee. That's right, we're gonna start with dessert first. And this is why, because creme brulee isn't something that you cook now and eat now. Now you gotta do a little bit of prep ahead of time. So you can like cook this in the morning, let it sit in the fridge covered overnight, and it'll be ready that evening. Or you can cook it and then keep it in the fridge overnight and eat it tomorrow, okay? It's gonna last in the fridge for about 2 days. But there are eggs in it, so you don't want it to sit in the fridge for too long, you know what I'm saying? All right, so we're gonna start with 8 egg yolks. Now you don't want any of the whites. So there's a couple ways to get the egg yolks out of the whites to separate them. You can do the old trick where you toss it back and forth. I tend to just like to use my hands. You're gonna get a little bit messy, but you're gonna separate the whites from the egg yolk just by going back and forth, real gentle, like you're rubbing the head of a baby, a very slimy baby. All right, there it is. There is your egg yolk. So we're gonna put it right in there. Again, that's 8 egg yolks. All right, Allison?
I'm gonna whisk in a 1/3 cup of sugar with the egg yolks.
Yep, we're gonna whisk it for about 90 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
Whisking. And while I'm whisking, Bob is going to steam the cream.
Yeah, so
half and half.
So we've got here 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream and 1/2 cup of half and half, or light cream. And we're actually going to infuse this creme brulee with lavender, and that's what this is right here. So the way you infuse it with lavender is you gotta steam it with the cream. So come on back and let's do that. So we're gonna get the heat on about medium heat, right? We don't want this to boil, you just want it to steam. So go ahead and pour your 1.5 cups of half and half, or 1.5 cups of heavy cream, 1/2 cup of half and half, and then you're gonna put the lavender in it. Now, I bought this lavender online through Amazon. It was pretty inexpensive. If you don't have this type of lavender, maybe you have like some edible lavender oil from like essential oils so you can get all purified. You can put it right in here and steam it up that way, all right? I'm gonna get a spatula, we're gonna give this a little stir. Now, I know you're looking in there and you're thinking, Bob, you got big old chunks of lavender floating in the cream. That's gonna be crunchy. Creme brulee, I've never had creme brulee that's crunchy. It's usually real smooth. Well, we're gonna run this through a sieve and we're gonna get all of those out. So don't worry about that. This is gonna steam for about 5 to 10 minutes, just enough time to really infuse all of the lavender in the cream. Now you're also gonna wanna add about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now if you don't have the lavender or you don't like lavender, you can always just use the vanilla extract and it makes it taste delicious as well. Give that a good stir in there. Don't let it come to a boil once again, just steam it. All right, so we've got our egg mixture, it's done. We've got our cream steaming, and yeah, we're just gonna wait it out. All right, so we've got our cream in half and half, lavender and vanilla. It's steamed, it's smelling so good, guys. And then we've got this big pot behind it. So this is actually, we've boiled some water because we're going to cook our creme brulee in a hot water bath. Who doesn't love a hot bath, right? Your creme brulee, they love it. So what we're gonna do first though, is we're gonna run all of this good cream through a sieve because we want to get out the little stems of lavender. So let's go back to the table and let's run this through a sieve. All right. Okay. You know, the fanciest thing that we used to cook was Caesar salad.
Yeah.
And
chicken Caesar salad.
Oh, if we were feeling really fancy, I'd get some chicken and I would burn it in a pan because I didn't know you had to add oil. And then we would buy the already made like bag of salad, you know, that has got the cheese and the croutons in it. And that was a good date night. So we've moved up a little bit.
We've come a long way.
We've come a long way. So check this out. We've got all the lavender in there. And when we stir it, we don't see it in here, right? So we've just got the flavoring. That's what you want. So make sure you get all of the little stems and flowers of lavender out of your cream, all right? We're gonna move this to the sink. And then we're gonna add half of the cream into the egg yolks. Yep, and keep stirring that. That's great. Oh yeah. That's awesome. And now we're gonna finish it out.
All right. Just mix it up.
So you just want to make sure this is mixed all the way through. It doesn't take long at all. I'm not smoking. So we have had creme brulee before, and then we took a vacation with our family somewhere, North Carolina, Emerald Isle, North Carolina, I think, and we ate at this restaurant and they had this lavender infused creme brulee, and that's when it was like,
We're hooked.
We've got to figure that out. And all we did was Google it, gang, and we found it out, and it's awesome. All right, so we're gonna take these ramekins and we're going to come over to the sink. Anytime you're using boiling water from one pot to another, let's probably just do it over your sink. So we're gonna do that now to avoid any first, second, or third degree burns. So I'm gonna add this boiling water here to a pan that's in here. You want your pan to at least have sides that are about 1.5 inches tall. And what this is gonna do is this is gonna help the whole custard just cook really thorough, evenly all the way throughout. So let's move this pan carefully back over to our table. Right here, all right.
So the ramekins go in.
So now we are making creme brulee for two, but let me just give you some advice.
You're gonna want more.
Make extra. You're gonna want, 2 people is gonna eat 4 creme brulees. If you're like me, anyway. And I know you're saying, Bob, I'm not like you. I have self-control. Wait till you taste this. You might change your mind. All right.
Okay.
So we're just gonna ladle these in. And now later on, right before we serve, we're going to caramelize the sugar on top. So you want to fill it up almost all the way, and you want to leave just a little bit of room at the top for that sugar to get caramelized. Yeah, that's perfect, honey. Yeah. Now don't worry about dripping some of the mixture into the water. That's fine, but you do not want to drip any water into your mixture. That will mess you up. So mixture in the water, that's fine, just not the other way around. Oh man, there's so much goodness in there. Let's see if we can fit all of it in the ramekins. You do not. One time I made this for a big family event and I had a lot left over. Like I over exaggerated the amount, right? It was just too much. So I actually made like a whole pan of creme brulee, and people laughed at me. They're like, we'll never get that much creme brulee. And by the end of the night, it was gone. It was gone.
Can't lick the bowl.
Yeah, don't lick the bowl. Resist the urge. Yeah, that's a good call. So we've preheated our oven to 300 degrees. Now this is gonna need to cook in the oven for about 60 to 90 minutes. You wanna make sure that the custard is firm, but the center is still a little jiggly. So what I found best is to give my oven just a little shake, the whole oven just a little shake, and if the center is still jiggly but the rest is firm, that's how you know you're done. But set your timer 60 to 90 minutes, and then you're gonna have to let it rest again. That's the hard part, gang, for a while, several hours or overnight. Let's get this in the oven.
Going low.
Yep. Yeah, now I've got this double oven. This bottom one here is convection, and the top is a regular oven, and it just makes things really nice. But if all you have is a single oven, that is all right. It's no big deal. Just pop it in the single oven, no problem.
Because you do this ahead of time.
Yep.
All right.
All right, we're ready to move on to the potatoes au gratin. Now, these are potatoes sliced pretty thin. We're gonna use a mandolin to do that. Now, if you don't have a mandolin, you can use just a knife, just be careful. In fact, when you use a mandolin, be really careful. I've seen tips of fingers and fingernails go missing. That's why we use this little thing right here. It keeps your fingers away. Most mandolins come with it. So for just the two of you, you're not gonna need that many potatoes. One of these potatoes is going to suffice. And so you just give it a really nice slice. And what you're looking for is thickness about a little thicker than a potato chip. You don't want to go too thin, then they'll cook too fast. Too thick, they won't cook enough. Just a little bit thicker than a potato chip is going to give you a great texture. So we're going to slice all these up.
Okay. And after
We're going to let that one go.
after you slice them, you want to put them into cold water for just a little bit.
Yeah, so potatoes are full of starch, and so you'll see once you wash these with cold water, the water will become cloudy. You want to keep doing this until the water isn't cloudy anymore. You want to do the same thing with rice too. If you like cooking rice, wash your rice. Woo.
There were some in that.
I added sound effects there. Your potatoes may or may not make that sound. That's full disclosure. By the way, we bought all of this stuff at Aldi. Now, Aldi is not a sponsor yet, but we bought all of this stuff at Aldi with a few exceptions. The lavender was one of those exceptions, but Aldi has some great finds, and if you're smart and shop and look around, you're able to find some really good things that you can cook. Even the scallops we're gonna cook tonight came from Aldi, believe it or not. Aldi actually, they don't outsource their meat overseas or anything. They tend to work with local organizations because they don't want to transport their meat a long way. And so their beef is actually pretty good. It's USDA Black Angus beef that we're going to use today. So
dump out the water.
the water became a little bit cloudy now. Yep, all the starch is coming out, and we're going to get rid of that. All right, now for potatoes au gratin, the name of the game is layering. You want to layer these potatoes, and that's what makes them really delicious. Of course, heavy whipping cream helps as well, right? Heavy whipping cream helps just about everything taste good. So take 2 of your potato slices. We use golden potatoes. You can use a russet potato, almost anything but a red potato. Red potatoes tend to get pretty mushy when you do it. So those fit really perfect right in there. 2 potatoes, and then we're going to put our cheese in. Now our cheese we got at Aldi as well. We got Swiss and Gruyere along with some Gouda cheese. Both of those are in here. We mix it up. Now, if you try to buy Gouda cheese at a regular grocery store, it's expensive.
Yeah.
That bag of cheese was less than $3, and it's really good, gang. It's really good. So
You want cream in there? next?
So yeah, let's put a little bit of cream in there. Before we do that, actually, let's put some shallots. So we've got some minced shallots. So we just want to put just a little bit in, not too much. We don't want to taste only onion. And then we're going to put up some garlic that I've minced earlier. And this is really good fresh garlic. And then let's season with a little salt. This is some coarse, what do we throw it over at the left shoulder? Is that right? And some fresh ground pepper. All right, now hit it with a little cream. You know, you're gonna use about a tablespoon of cream. Not too much because it's heavy whipping cream. All right, so we're gonna top with a little bit of cheese and then we're gonna season it right on the top as well. Just a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and hit it with just a little bit more cream. Now this is a serving for one. So you're gonna wanna repeat this for as many guests as you are serving. This is gonna bake in the oven for 1 hour and 20 minutes at 350, covered. And then we're going to remove the cover and we're really gonna get that good cheese crisp on the top. So put it in a shallow baking dish because it's gonna ooze out, and get it in the oven. All right, so this is our potatoes. We're gonna get it in the oven here at 350 for 1 hour and 20 minutes. Make sure it's covered. Once it's in there for 1 hour and 20 minutes, we're gonna take the cover off and we're gonna cook it at 425 for 10 minutes, and that's gonna really give the cheese a nice ooey gooey caramelized taste. It's gonna be really good. You're gonna wanna do that. So a household favorite of mine and my 2 daughters, unfortunately not my vegetarian wife, is steak. I love a good steak. These are ribeyes, which in my opinion is the best cut of beef. It has the best marbling, really, really good. Now, sometimes I like to do an extra splurge and I look for a really good grass-fed beef. There's a great butcher in Moraine, Ohio called Keener Butcher Block. They make a great cow. They cut it up for you. It's delicious. But listen, this ribeye came from Aldi. And there have been times, friends, where I haven't been able to tell the difference. Now, you can season your steak with just salt and pepper, and that's great. Tonight, we're using Longhorn Steakhouse seasoning. This is another one of those not found at Aldi. At least I've not found it at Aldi, but most other grocery stores have it. This is a crowd pleaser. So you want to season really generously on both sides, and I've already got one done. Let's season the other side. The important thing about steak too is that you let it set out and get up to room temperature. It's not gonna hurt the steak, it's not gonna hurt you, it's gonna be good. So let your steak get to room temperature. All right, now that we've got our steaks good and seasoned on both sides and the edges, don't forget the edges, we gotta give the edges some love. We're gonna put them in a cast iron skillet. Now, I love cooking steaks over a wood fire. That is my favorite way to cook a steak. Unfortunately, it's like 0 degrees out. We're gonna do it on the gas on a cast iron skillet. Whatever skillet you use, just make sure you get whatever skillet you have that has the heaviest bottom. That's gonna give you your best sear. So come on over to the gas and let's get it on. So we've got our skillet here. We want to put this pan in when it is nice and hot. You want your skillet almost to be smoking a little bit. And then you want to add some oil. The trick is, if it's a hot pan and it's cold oil, my oven makes a sound when it's ready, preheated. The trick is, if it's a hot pan and the cold oil, then the food won't stick. So just remember that, hot pan, cold oil, food won't stick. Say it with me, hot pan, cold oil, food won't stick. You're getting it. All right, let's put the oil in there. And now you're gonna wanna wait till the oil just gets a little shimmery, right? Just wants to shimmer a little bit. That means that it's nice and ready. You can feel with your hand. I'm gonna let this oil sit just for a couple more seconds until it gets nice and shimmery on top. And our steaks are ready to go in. Once you place your steak in there, you don't wanna touch it. You're gonna have this urge to flip your steak. I don't know where the urge comes from, but it comes. Don't flip it, just let it sit, right? So now we're gonna set these bad boys right on there. That's the sound you're looking for. That's what you wanna hear right there. All right, just give them a little press down. Once these steaks are done and fully cooked, we're gonna add mushrooms to it, because once again, I love a good steak and mushrooms. So resist the urge, don't flip. That's going to give you a really nice crust on the bottom of your steak. And we're also going to want to brown the edges a little bit as well. So the general rule is for about an inch thick steak, you want to do 4 minutes on each side. And then as your steak gets bigger, like if you're like me and sometimes you want to go get a big boy and cut it 2.5 inches thick, that's going to be a big steak. That's going to be a big sear. And there's, like I said, lots of ways to prepare this, but for these steaks, I think this is one of the best ways. So we're going to give this a couple more minutes, and then we're going to flip. So when we flip these steaks, we're gonna butter baste it with garlic and rosemary. So once you get your garlic out, the best way to peel it is just to give it a little smash and peel the skin right off your garlic. It just comes right off. And then you don't want to chop this. We're just wanting the flavor. We don't want the actual garlic. And then we're going to get some rosemary here from the rosemary plant.
All right. One of our families in our life group was super kind and gave us a rosemary plant. So shout out to the Shanks.
Shout out to the Shanks.
All right. You want this back here?
Yeah. All right, we're ready to flip these steaks. They've been good. They've got a good crust on one side. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, fellas, that's what you want to see right there. Ladies, too, I know you guys love steak. Now it's in the pan. We're going to throw about 2 tablespoons of butter in with it, some rosemary and garlic. And then we're going to butter baste the steak. So we're going to tilt our pan just a little bit, and we're going to get all that butter right on top of the steaks. Now, I cook steaks the way God intended, medium rare. If you want a steak that's done more, you can always go somewhere else, because I won't make it. No, I'm just kidding. You can just leave it in the pan longer. And you can listen to the cry of children as you eat a steak cooked well done. For we all have fallen short of the glory of God. And the Bible says that Christ is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And yet, some people still eat their steak well done. Woo! Hot! Can I have a pair of tongs? All right, remember I said we also want to get the edges, okay? So you're going to want a good pair of tongs, and just get the edges a little bit. Now, I trimmed this steak before I put it on, so I trimmed some of the fat off there. But you don't want to trim all the fat off steak, because that fat is going to render out, and it's actually going to help you brown the edges. Oh, look at that, guys. That looks really, really good. All right, these have cooked long enough, so we're going to get them on a plate, and then we're going to tempt them with foil. You're going to be tempted, once again, to eat it right now. But you're missing a really key step to great steak, and that is to let it rest. Just like the Lord rested on the 7th day and commanded you and I to do the same, we must let our steak rest. So we're going to do that. Oh, yeah. We're going to let it rest. So go ahead and put the foil on. Now we're going to cook mushrooms in the same pan that we cooked our steaks in. That's going to give us some really good flavor. But before we throw the mushrooms in, we're going to throw some shallots and some garlic in with it. You want to cook the shallots first. Garlic cooks quick. So cook the shallots first and then the garlic. Let's get it in the pan. heat down just a little bit on that. Go ahead and throw the garlic in.
Okay. Keeping it moving so it doesn't burn. And now we're going to add mushrooms. We want to let these get nice and soft. So we just keep moving them around.
Add a little bit more butter in with it.
Yeah, looks like we need some more butter. Look at these big, see if they need
Oh, that's looking great.
more butter or
No,
glaze
that looks
yet.
great. So at this point in the game, we're going to add about a cup of dry sherry wine. This is really good cooking wine, and it adds a great flavor. Now, you can sub this wine for a little bit of chicken broth, maybe a marsala wine, or they're kind of good just as they are, but this is really going to just kick it up a notch and give it a little extra flavor. Those look really good.
Yeah, and since I don't eat the steak, this is the best part for me. Yeah, I'm gonna add some salt and pepper. All right. Stir these a little bit more.
We're just
Turn down
leave
the
them
low.
on and simmer.
Now just let these simmer.
All right, so now we are ready to cook our scallops. We're gonna use this pan again. It's a heavy bottom pan. It's gonna give us a really great sear. We're gonna do almost the same thing with the steak, just not as much time. So let's get this hot. Now these scallops, again, we got these from Aldi. They are really, really good. Now sometimes scallops are gonna have this little thing they call a foot, right? And now you can see the scallop and it's just got this little part right here is really chewy. So all you're gonna do is just pull that right off and it comes right off. Discard it, and then that is gonna be your scallop. You're gonna wanna thaw these out. Now, they don't take a long time to thaw. You can thaw them out just naturally. If you're in a pinch, you can put them in a bowl of hot water, warm water, and they'll thaw out really perfectly. In fact, that's exactly what I did with these, and they are really, really good. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is get them dry. You wanna cook a scallop really dry. So you don't want it to be wet. You don't want any ice to be on there since they were frozen. Of course, you can buy fresh scallops if you want, but Aldi sells these. They're about $11.99. You get a bunch of them, and they're really, really good. I call these seafood candy because, I mean, they are sweet. We're gonna cook them in butter just like the steak. And I'm noticing a theme in my life, and butter is always in it. It's a good theme. And we're gonna have a lot of fun cooking these. So let's see, our pan is pretty hot. We're gonna wanna get this just a little bit warmer, and then we're gonna cook them. So Allison and I, we're both from Florida. And in Florida, the surf and the surf and turf is a little easier to come by. And we kind of both really enjoy that turf action. I generally have a rule that says do not eat seafood when not by the sea. but occasionally I'll break it, and this is one of them. And I just made some lobster rolls the other night with lobster tails. They're on sale at Kroger, had to get them, and they were really good as well. Yep. All right, so I'm thinking our pan is gonna be hot enough. And once again, we got a hot pan, cold oil. What is it? That's right, food don't stick. So hot pan and cold oil. It does not take much. Let's just coat the whole pan with that. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, yep, that's done. All right, so before these go in the oil, we're gonna season them with salt and pepper. Again, coarse kosher salt, the best salt. You wanna make sure you season really high, get some even coating on all of them. And then fresh ground pepper. All right, put them in, season side down. They're gonna season for about 3 minutes on each side, and that's the noise you wanna hear. If you don't hear that noise, your pan is not hot enough, so just wait until it's hot. As you put them on, you might wanna give them a second look. Make sure you got that foot off of all of them. All right, we're not gonna overcrowd our pan. We're gonna let those suckers cook in there. All right, now these have got a really good sear on one side, so we're gonna flip them. You can do that just real easy with a spoon and see that nice golden top. That's exactly what you're looking for. Now you can overcook these and they can become really chewy. You can undercook them and they can be raw, so, but it's really done by look, feel. Again, about 2-3 minutes per side is good. And we're gonna throw some butter in now with these. Oh yeah. I'm telling you, these are seafood candy. They are so sweet. Now, the same way we did with the steaks, we're just gonna get a little bit of that butter on top of all of them. Give them a nice little flip, make sure you're happy. I'm very happy about this. All right, and you just cooked scallops. So go ahead and remove them. And they're just gonna hang out here until we're done. All right, so we had our potatoes au gratin in the oven at 350 for an hour and 20 minutes covered. And then we uncovered them at 425 for 10 minutes, and look at what we've got. Man, these look so good. And let me tell you, they are gonna be delicious. You're gonna love to eat these. So we finished our potatoes, we got our steak done, we got our scallops done, and our mushrooms.
Yeah.
Now, the last bit, it's the green stuff, babe.
Yeah.
You're always careful to make sure that we have vegetables at all of our meals, mostly because that's all you eat. And so take it away with how we're doing the vegetables.
We are gonna cook the asparagus in some bacon fat. So
Yeah, so I did add a little bit of, you know, I thought we're doing this cooking show, we haven't eaten any bacon yet, and that's a problem for me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get this cooking in the pan while she trims these up.
Okay, so I'm just gonna trim off most of the end. We really prefer to eat the more green end of the asparagus. You can cut them to the length that you want. I'm gonna take off about that much. And once the bacon is done, these will be ready to go in the pan. All right, so our bacon is ready, nice and crispy. I'm gonna add our asparagus to the pan. These will not take long to get tender, probably about 5 minutes. And I'm also gonna season with a little salt and pepper.
So when we first got married, there were some things that I cooked that I'm sure you didn't like. And there were some things you cooked that I know I didn't like. But I love my wife. We're newlyweds and we're just the most in love we've ever been. That's not true. And she kept cooking it, and because I love her, I kept eating it. So she's thinking I'm loving it. So she keeps cooking it. I'm hating it, but I keep eating it because I love her. It was this vicious cycle.
Yeah, and it became like my go-to meal for company, for entertaining, because I really thought that you liked it, but it was a pizza casserole.
Yeah, and look, I like some casseroles. I like all pizza. But pizza casserole, look, maybe you make it and you think it's awesome. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. And don't try to win me over either. I'm not going to like it. But
it's kind of like I just turned the pizza upside down. Kind of.
But I love you.
I love you too.
All right, that's good. We're on the same page. You know, that's one of our favorite things when we get to cook and we get to do things like this is a little bit of reminiscing, a little bit of spending time together, communicating, and even though you're a vegetarian, I love you.
We can still cook.
We can still cook together. We figure it out. Man, those asparagus looking awesome
It's
too.
green. They're almost done.
So if you overcook them, they'll turn brown. So don't do that. Just cook them until they're green. Not like broccoli, where you cook it till it's yellow, then pour cheese sauce over it the way God intended. Cook this till it's nice and green. All right, so we've got our steak here. Now we're looking for a nice red center. We're gonna slice it up to serve it. Let's see what we got. Oh, look at that. Nice and pink. Oh yeah, that's the way Mama likes it right there. Not my mama, but yeah, that's it right there. Oh, that's beautiful, beautiful. And the secret really is, gang, to letting it rest. Don't rush into cutting the steak. Just let it rest. Man, that's gonna be really good. All right, so we've finished now. We've got everything plated. We've got our asparagus, scallops, medium rare steak with mushrooms, and our potatoes au gratin. Now, the last step is to caramelize the sugar on top of your creme brulee. Now, you're gonna wanna do this right before you serve it, so maybe you're gonna eat first. Tonight, we're gonna make it right now. So I've got just regular granulated sugar in here in this little mortar and pestle. Now, you wanna find some super fine sugar. I don't know where you find that, but that's what the internet said you wanted. I've only ever used regular sugar, but I thought I can make it super fine sugar.
Do you really have to have super fine sugar?
No, honey, you don't.
Yeah, I don't think we need it.
You're super fine. You're my super fine sugar. No, you don't. I just really like doing this. And it's a new toy, and I wanted to show you guys. If you have one of these, you know, you can do that.
Bob's
All right,
just
that's
a little bit extra. A little bit extra.
Now, everyone has their regular kitchen torch. No, probably not. Yeah, you probably don't have one of these. In fact, this one has been out of gas for a long time. So you can put the sugar on and you can actually hit it on your broiler on high in the oven. It's gonna be great. Or
Way more exciting.
you could be Tim Allen and you could pull out the big guns. All right, I had to go to the garage to get this. We're gonna do it right here. So we're gonna take our sugar.
And these have been in the fridge most of the day.
We're gonna put it right on there. Now you don't want a ton. You want just a nice thin layer on top. Yeah, just like that. That looks good.
Okay.
Yep, a little more. Go ahead and mix that around. Get that evenly on.
You don't want to skip this step. You want that crunch.
Yeah, you want that crunch on top. All right, here we go. Time to turn on the heat. Oh yeah, all right. Dial it back some. Oh. Here we go.
I feel like you should be wearing safety goggles.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. I don't own safety goggles. There, that's exactly what you're looking for right there. Just a nice caramelization right on top.
Looks so good.
And now, friends, you are ready to eat. There goes my daughter. All right, hey, this is what we cook with, you know what I'm saying? So listen, I am so glad that you have been hanging out with Allison and myself in our kitchen. It's been so fun to get to hang with you. Listen, at Salem, we believe life is done better together than over alone. So whether you're cooking with a spouse, a loved one, a friend, you were cooking with Netflix on the TV, cooking by yourself, whatever you were doing, we want you to know at Salem, you are part of a community that believes life is done better together. And so we get to be a part of each other's life and share. That's why we're a big believer in life groups. In fact, if you're interested in getting plugged into a life group, you can text the word groups right now to the number on your screen, 937-230-7722, and I'd be happy to connect you. And if you are married, we're actually launching some great marriage groups coming up, and they're gonna last for 6 weeks. It's gonna be called Love Talk, one on Sunday nights, one on Thursday nights. And at any stage of life you're in your marriage, you are welcome to participate in that. You text the word love to the same number you see on your screen. Man, it's been so much fun having you part of our kitchen, and you are welcome back anytime. So come back next time and see what new we're gonna be cooking up. Ansley used to call it wicks.
Okay, are you saying the line first or mine? Okay. We'll be walking you through the whole prep. Okay, let me say it again. We'll be walking you through the whole meal prep process. Okay, sorry.
Not enough because it's heavy whipping cream and it's so good. I'm getting a phone call. Mom, I'm cooking. Leave me alone. Bye.